I'm Megan Baker. This is Influence Her. Born in 1925, Edith Dodson Shira has lived a very full life, rich in family and devout Catholic faith. This is a special interview of Influence Her because you are my Nana and you have really influenced me throughout my life. So it's a pleasure to be sitting here with you today. Nana, what was it like growing up one of 11 in your family?
It was wonderful because I was at the tail end, and everyone we were going through the Depression, but the kids older ones all had jobs, and my dad did too, of course. And but the house was a great big house, and there were a lot of hiding places.
Being born just before the Great Depression, do you have memories of what that was like?
Oh, absolutely. It was just the saddest of days, and yet thankful hearts because my dad has such a good job, and we hardly even knew the Depression was on because his job was so lucrative, and so that was a good thing. But
you spend a lot of time in Pittsburgh and you love the city. What was it like growing up in Pittsburgh during the steel industry?
Well, the one thing I remember is that every day you could never wear anything the second day, a blouse or anything, because it was, there was a saying, a ring around the collar, and even the soap company took that to get that black ring from steel mills and things like that. So, but my love for Pittsburgh, that was all part of it. And if sure it would be dark when you go into, we would always say we're going downtown, downtown. So, but I loved, and I still dearly love Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Tell me about Grailville, where you met William Shira, Papa, and how soon after did you and Papa marry?
I met Bill when I was at Grailville, which was a private school for women, and just to introduce us to the womanly arts, and it was just a beautiful place. And this young man came in from the service. The war was over, and when it was my job to run down to the church, and I had the keys to the little church there in the community, and to ring the bells and everything. And and right after the war, Bill came in uniform to see what this woman at Women's College was all about, this women's schooling, you know, and I was in this huge Victorian home in the for lunch, but I was way back in the corner. I could see him and hear him, but his voice, and just I knew I was going to marry him. I mean, just like that. And then I thought, who can I tell this to? I'm so happy that I know this is a man that I want to marry, you know, because his ideals came through and his Catholicism, and so it was.
So then you courted, and then how soon did you marry?
Probably 2 years after. Oh, maybe only 1 year. I would have to look back on that.
So you have 8 children. What was it like raising 8 children on a farm?
We went at 12, so we stopped at 8.
My goodness.
The Lord stopped us at 8. But it was perfect. It was something that we wanted. And I was a city gal, and I knew nothing about farm life and all that.
You learned.
But Bill's, my husband's, and your papa had a degree in agricultural research, and so he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot, and then the freedom that the children had, all the children, and you grandchildren. I mean, you enjoyed that too,
Yeah.
just the freedom, and then having a pony or two ponies. I don't even know what, horse, and there was just, and then 4-H with all the little animals around. Your mother had ducks and just other animals, so it was delightful.
How did you and Papa keep your marriage going strong for almost 60 years? That's a long time.
Yeah, with patience, endurance, letting your anger out, and not being afraid to argue, and then you just kind of flow with it, and eventually make up, and we knew it was a contract, and we knew that we were in it together for life. So, and we were.
What was most fulfilling to you, being a special education teacher?
Well, I just, our first child, Bill Jr., had a hard time learning to read, and so I taught him. I sent for books on phonics and so on, and I taught him to read. And by the second grade, he was reading Swiss Family Robinson and 40 Leagues Under the Sea, or whatever that book is, and he was way beyond his reading level. And I thought, I wonder if there are other children like this. And so I thought, someday I want to finish my education and get into learning disabled children, teaching learning disabled children. And I did. I was 48 when I went back to college and got my degree in teaching emotionally disturbed children and learning disabled children. And it just, and then to see the children that I taught as they went on, because I followed them through, and they became speech therapists and engineers and things. They went to Grove. Some of them went to Grove City College, and I thought, where would they have been if they hadn't been sent to a resource room? And it was fulfilling. It was very fulfilling.
Some of my fondest memories were helping you set up your classroom every year.
Yes.
I remember doing that.
That was
great.
A
lot of fun. Yeah.
I look forward to you helping me.
Why did you continue working well into your 70s?
For the love of it, and how, I was succeeding in it, and the children were succeeding in it, and I just, and then when I did retire, my principals begged me to give, because even when you're retired as a teacher, you can give 90 days or so many days back, and he asked if, and I said no. I said, this is it. I said, my husband and I both are retiring together, so to speak. And I said, we want to travel. So
you also volunteered a lot of your time to teaching Sunday school, CCD, and running the parish.
I ran the educational part, religious educational part of the church, yes. And just the love for all you grandchildren, and my love for children, and getting them off on the right steps, so to speak.
Building the right foundation.
Yes.
What are your fondest memories of the seashore, Assateague Island?
Oh, how it was the freedom there, and the battle with the ponies, and knowing that you had to not leave anything on the table because the ponies soon found it.
They would break into the tents.
And they'd break into the tents, yes, and just the freedom that you had on the even the little children on the beach, and the beaches were never crowded, never crowded, and which was so nice at Assateague, and just the roughness of it, so the environment, and you just flowed with it, and so it was beautiful. Yeah.
You've seen a lot in your lifetime. I mean, from the Great Depression, World War II, how many other different wars that we've had, 9/11. What is society lacking these days?
Stability and intolerance. That's a big part. And lack of faith, no matter what faith it is, just the complete, almost total lack of faith and hope and charity. I mean, love for one another. I mean, it's just not there, especially between nations and in politics, you know, the separation we have there. And yeah.
Time now for Baker's Dozen. Are you ready, Nana?
I am ready.
Favorite European trip?
Oh, Ireland. You know.
Butter pecan or praline crunch ice cream?
Butter pecan.
And I know how you love your ice cream.
Yes, I do.
Favorite homemade wine? And there was a lot of wine made in the wine cellar.
Right. Still, Niagara.
Niagara. Favorite song?
What?
We can go back to that one. How about favorite decade?
I would say the early days of our marriage in the 50s.
Funniest memory of Papa?
Chasing me around the table when I said a bad word.
I knew you were going to say that.
He wanted to put his hand over my mouth, and I kept screaming it out because I knew it annoyed him.
And I know what that is, too.
Yes, you do. You were all laughing.
We had belly laughs, Aaron and I, during that time. Favorite holiday meal?
Thanksgiving.
Phipps Conservatory or Benedum Center?
Oh, the conservatory. That's where Bill and I would have dates.
What's one thing you wish to pass on to your kids and grandchildren?
Unity. Always have unity within the family and within the members of the family.
Favorite phrase?
Be still and know that I am God.
We'll go back to favorite song.
Holy God, we praise thy name.
One regret.
I really don't have many. This is a hard question because my life has been rough at times, but always joyful. And the hardest time in the beginning was when Bill started to have Alzheimer's, and we did not know it. He hid it so well, and I would get so angry at him because he would do such stupid things, and I thought, you're just not thinking, you know. And I really regret those days, and it went on for years before any of us recognized that it was the beginning of Alzheimer's, you know. So.
This question is from our last guest. What is the most courageous thing you have ever done?
I would say at 50 years of age, I learned to rappel from a high mountain, and I learned to mountain climb, rock climb, but the rock climbing was the most difficult thing I think I've ever accomplished.
And I never knew that. I learned something new about you. What is one question you have for our next guest?
How do you face what is going on today in the political scene and in the world, just the whole world scene, and what message would you have if you would be in front of a panel of people asking, how can we undo what has been done that is wrong in the world, in our country, in the nation, even in the religion, even in the Catholic religion? And that's what I would like to know her answers to that.
Really good question.